Hey everybody, it's me, Remy the Comic Book Poser, and I'm here today to welcome you to Enter the Poserverse. Sorry about the no new definitive rankings video on Monday. Got my books on Saturday again. Too much shit to read, but be back on schedule this week. So, you know what day it is. It's Tuesday, which means it's time to talk about what books I'm going to pick up on tomorrow's new comic book day that I think you should read along with me. Find out what we got. Check it out after this.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Two things I want to mention before we look at the poll. Number one, don't forget about the Patreon that I've got going. I want to say thank you to my 4 Patreons, and you'll see the thank you clip at the end, but I'm sending out a small thank you gift to everybody who signs up, regardless of whatever level, here when I've got 1 or 2 things coming in from Sticker Mule, and then I've got different levels of benefits, mystery boxes, things that I can send you, things that you can influence me and get me to do, content you want to see from me, that kind of stuff, and all of that is in the description below. Number 2, if I remember, here will be the link for my 1,000 Road to 1 subscriber giveaway video. All you gotta do is go and comment, and then pay attention to my social media, where I might give you some chances to get some extra entries. So, without further ado, let's see what I'm reading. First up, from Marvel Comics' Alien #1. I've really liked the way that they've done these Alien covers. I'm really terrified at what Marvel may do to Alien, that I'm a big fan of not just the original film, but also the Dark Horse comics, and like I said, out of nowhere I've started collecting those recently, so my fear is that it might be sanitized by the corporate overlords of the House of Mouse, but I hope it's not. I'm praying it will be good, and I'm excited because that cover of the Xenomorph looks amazing. Number 2 is Amazing Spider-Man 62. I'm literally only buying this for spec value. It's the first appearance of the new costume. I don't like what Nick Spencer has done to my Spider-Man. Next up, from Marvel, is Cable #9, where we're starting to get to see Cable's full use of the timeline start to kind of play up with him and haunt him. Like I said, Cable is a run that started off kind of slow for me and was not that great, but really after the Ten of Swords event, it's been quite fantastic. Next up from Dark Horse, I literally would have missed out on this book if it weren't for my buddy Cole from Comic Burrito yelling at me and saying, you should read this. And again, congratulations to my Burrito boys for hitting their 500 subscribers. Now, road to 600 begins. But this is interesting in terms of looking at Rodian trying to find her father's murderer. The art in this book is absolutely trippy in the best way possible, and it's hard to figure out what is real and what is kind of this ethereal transfiguration that is happening at the hands of the artist. Next up, from Marvel, is Excalibur 19. This has been great start to finish. We're starting to figure out if there's something wrong with the Betsy that has come back. We're starting to figure out what is kind of happening in terms of the Coven Arcaba trying to come on the land, and then also the psychological games that are being played with maybe a secret hidden bad person that has not revealed themselves to the rest of the X-Men. We know who it is. Next up is one of the books that hands down I'm going to read early in my pull this week from Image Comics, is Haha #3. This has not been the series I thought it would be from the first 2 issues. I'm also intrigued to see, as this says, it's a silent mime story that's illustrated by Roger Landridge. So I'm kind of excited to get into a silent issue that I've really enjoyed those, because the art does a lot to make the story sing and kind of take it to a next level. So I'm ready to see what happens in the tale of the mime. Next up from DC is Harley Quinn #1. I missed both of the Future State versions of this title, but I'm excited to get into this one. Y'all know how big of a Stephanie Phillips fan I am. She's working with Riley Rossmo on this one, which their art is also banging. So I'm excited to see this new interpretation with one of my favorite writers on Harley Quinn. King in Black tie-in, we get to see what Scream has to do in this world that we haven't seen much of Scream since kind of the 3 issues of the Curse of Carnage books during the Absolute Carnage run. So I'm excited to see if Scream can do anything to help take down Null. Next, we've got Miskatonic number 5. This series has kind of been a little weird for me in terms of how it's played with Cthulhu. So I'm going to be honest that this might be a make or break week for issue number 5. That I liked 1 through 3 a lot. Number 4 was just okay. So we'll see if this is something that I pick up or if I'm done with this version of Cthulhu crime noir tale. Next up from Boom Studios is Once and Future 17. This has been a fun read. I know that some people have said that the return back to kind of the original arc in terms of looking at who's the new Galahad, who's the new Lancelot, all of these elements in terms of playing with the real world and other world, that people may not like it, but again, I like that it's kind of returning back to the original Arthurian mythos, and I want to see this out. Alright, next up from Image is Post Americana number 4, Cannibals in the Wasteland, looking at the unlikely pair that has come together now that we're dealing with maybe having to fight away from the new American forces that they're trying to take down. Like, this book has just been an odd coupling in an insane dystopian version of the American future, but I love it. That this has been an Image book that not a lot of people have loved because cannibals are weird for some folks, but it's been a very fun read. Power Rangers number 5, I'm still behind, but I'm going to try and catch up by Thursday. That Power Rangers is always a mid to bottom level of the stack because I've got to focus more and potentially reread the issue before, just because I'm not super familiar with the Power Rangers like whole universe, that this is only like the 15th issue of a Power Rangers book that I've read. Next up from Image is Rain Like Hammers number 3. I'm also behind on this book. That Rain Like Hammers number 2 came in 2 weeks late for me, but I loved the first one, so we'll see what I think being able to read 2 and 3 in tandem. Next up from Image is Scumbag number 6. I loved the first arc. That's the way that Rick Remender is writing about Scumbag, the way the different artists kind of approach this weird, unexpected, like, I don't know if he's a full-blown anti-hero, but, you know, someone like Ernie Ray. This has just been a fun read, and if he hooks up with a cult escapee, then this takes it to a new level of insanity. Next up from Aftershock is Shadow Doctor number 2. I loved this book. It is a biographical retelling of the author's grandfather's story, where he's a black doctor that is blackballed from working at hospitals in Chicago and has to turn to work with the mob. That is what is kind of revealed at the end of issue number 1, so I want to see how this all plays its way out when we get kind of his first full introduction and intermingling with them. Also from Image is Stray Dogs number 2. This first book was absolutely bonkers, and I'm going to try and find the movie variant for this book as well. But nobody knows what's happened aside from the Master's been murdered. They're going to try and figure out what is going on, but again, this mashup of, I can't remember what it was with Silence of the Lambs, but issue 1 got me really intrigued. I'm on the hunt for the acetate version of the cover A, that if any of you all know or can help me find one of those, let me know and I will get you some doll hairs. But number 2 looks like it's going to be a very intriguing read. Next, we got Taskmaster number 5. Next to last book in the arc, he is figuring out the next step that he needs to be able to break down who may have killed Agent Maria Hill. So I'm here for more. I've loved all of these. This has been an insanely fun series to read. Next up is the other DC book I'm picking up this week. It's Teen Titans Academy number 1. I'm literally picking this up as a spec book that I'm wondering if it has the ability to be as hot as like Strange Academy was. 2 books left from IDW. We've got Best of Michelangelo #1. I have loved all of these collections of all of the individual tales that kind of highlight each of the turtles. I know that we've got a Splinter one coming out in another month to 6 weeks, but I don't know if we have any more of these other Best of series coming out beyond. And then the last one from AWA is Year Zero #5. I think this is the final book of the second arc, and it's been as good as the first one is. The stories have been compelling enough, the characters have been intriguing enough that I want to see, what happens next. But I'm also hoping that we see some kind of connection back to this greater universe, or if we're just gonna kind of have individual arcs that are anthology style reads that are just like, zombies are here and it kind of sucks. Lastly, we've got the Scout books to talk about this week. Again, they're going to be in my Scout box if I don't have them already. I feel like we talked about the Recount #3 already, that I think it was supposed to come out last week and then got pushed to this week. Next, we've got Rabid World #1. I have not read this yet. I have not read the preview yet, but it looks like it's definitely some kind of like dog bite causes collapse of civilization, which sounds dope. And then the last one is Frank at Home on the Farm #3. I've really loved the psychological thriller that exists in this, that we don't know what is real, what is a construction of Frank's mind. Is any of it PTSD from him fighting in World War I? But it's a really good read that I think if you like those kinds of psychological thrillers, you should definitely check this book out. What do you think? Is there anything that you plan on picking up this week that I'm missing? Let me know in the live chat over here. Let me know in the comments down below if you're checking this out on the rewind. But as always, let me know what you think, and thanks for stopping by, and have a good one.
Thank you for being a friend, and I want to thank you.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.